Hello and welcome back to As an Aggregator. Today we're going to be discussing what exactly is culture commentary. Now, don't hold me to the exactly part, but we'll try to take a stab at it from our perspective. So, what is culture commentary? Understanding culture commentary, a reflection of content and consumption, exploring content curation, searchability, and the evolution of online discourse. Now, in your top right, you'll see a slideshow of just screenshots from our various culture commentary entries in our ongoing culture commentary quick pick. So what that means is, as a curator, we've developed like a playlist a schema. There are multiple different types of playlists we deploy. One is a category specific playlist. The second is an ASAP playlist for as soon as possible. The third is a temporal playlist, and then you have everything in between. So for our category specific playlists, we started with culture commentary. That's one of the flattest aspects of what we can speak to as a reflection of our culture. Just speaking to like what is, hey, what are we looking for? Hey, we're talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about culture and commentary in the most broadest concept possible. So for our category specific playlist, we started with number one. And then once that playlist got too large to navigate for me as a content consumer, we moved on to Culture Commentary 2 as a quick pick series, and then Culture Commentary 3, 4, 5, and now we're up to Culture Commentary 6. And ever since Culture Commentary 5, we included category specific derivative playlists. So if you check out the description, you'll see Culture Commentary 5A, B, and C, Culture Commentary 6A, B, and C, where we added derivative playlists as an unlisted playlist in the description. That it's a more specific playlist. We'll get into that context later, but right now we're talking about what is culture commentary. So why culture commentary matters. What is culture commentary and why does it matter? Culture commentary is a unique and evolving term for describing content. It reflects how consumers and creators engage with digital media. My journey as a content consumer and as a content curator has shaped my understanding. So on the screen it says a screenshot of YouTube content categories or an abstract word cloud of terms like news, reaction, vlogs, gaming, etc. And that goes to speak to the variety of content that's included within our category specific playlists. From gaming to news to politics to esoteric culture commentary, it includes pretty much everything that could be in a derivative or in one of like natural science, social science, esoteric, financialization, politics, like anything that is in one of our other category specific playlists. Culture commentary is the place where it lives when just to speak to kind of like a focal point clearinghouse for really lensing the content that we consume. Hey, it's coming through our consume digest. Hey, we're consuming this content. Where does it belong? Does it belong in an ASAP playlist because I'm consuming it at a specific period in time? When we build out temporal playlists professionally, is it included in there? Is it included in natural science, social science, esoteric? Well, wait, maybe it belongs in one of those, but it's super important to what it speaks to the culture at least as a reflection of my consumption journey, that I'm moving it into a culture commentary playlist, specifically our most recent iteration, because this is a continuous playlist throughout time. So right now we're on Culture Commentary 6, but if you go into the archives, we've curated hundreds and hundreds of videos so far that fit within this category specific designation called culture commentary. My journey as a content consumer. How my content consumption led to culture commentary. Now, this started with my journey as a consumer, specifically in the gaming space, specifically related to Call of Duty. Back then, it was probably before monetization. People were quite literally just sharing their gameplay. I don't think that there was really any B-roll necessarily, or like I don't even know if there was voiceovers during those days. People were just sharing their video. Maybe they had an edited montage, and then over time, let's talk over this video. Hey, let's do a live commentary. Hey, let's actually dissociate the commentary from the actual B-roll and just talk about whatever while using video game footage to describe it. That was one of my first creator economy introductions to a live commentary as a content consumer. So I'm carrying that forward in terms of, it's commentary, right? It's commentary, but it's also culture. So this can be extended to places outside of video games, outside of fashion, outside of politics, outside of brain rot, outside of all of these other designations where it's like, okay, well, why not say blank commentary or blank commentary? To this end, I thought that the use of this would be one of the flattest designations in order to attract its usage for people seeking to create content and to tag content, but also in terms of on a formal analysis of content consumption, to actually say, hey, well, what are we actually consuming? Like, what is content? There we go. In many respects, it's really just commentary, whether it's news, whether it's, the tripwire is really in its technical designation, primarily based on how many calories it takes to interpret the information. Those bits of content where you're consuming it at 1.85 speed, and then this content comes across your consume digest. Maybe it's a lecture, maybe it's deep contextual theory, and you're like, well, I gotta slow it down a little bit. I have to really process this information. That's what would be considered technical grade culture commentary. But generally speaking, when we come across content in so many respects, I mean, really, it's culture, it's commentary, it's culture commentary in the most broadest sense possible. It's just a reflection of people's cultural expressions. And that's what I'd like to push forward in terms of all the many different types of culture commentary out there, from esoteric culture commentary to overshoot culture commentary to natural science culture commentary, gaming culture commentary, different flavors of political culture commentary, psychological culture commentary. It gets to be really interesting for me as a content curator, one, because we can package content in this context, and hopefully over time this will help the consumers of my content be able to affix an attribution quicker than if I had to assimilate a more contextual heuristic, as opposed to just adding a prefix in front of culture commentary to describe what I'm speaking about. So yeah, it started with gaming content and live comms and creators just speaking their personal truth, talking about what was going on in the specific time period of their life and carrying it forward as commentary, and the development of how that shaped the overall creation landscape, the creator economy. Witnessed the evolution of video formats, live commentary, B-roll, narration, vlog-based discussion, recognized the need to contextualize content consumption, a timeline showing the progression of content formats from early gaming commentaries to modern-day vlogs. Defining culture commentary. What is culture commentary? Culture commentary is the act of categorizing, describing, and analyzing content in its broadest cultural context. Key ideas. It is an umbrella term for digital discourse. That's really important. Culture commentary is an umbrella term for digital discourse. It encompasses reactions, analysis, brain rot, and news, and everything in between, from music to the widest variety. Now, for me as a content curator, I cannot commit to including the widest variety of content that you might know exists. But on our journey, we would like to figure out a way to include that. But based on where we started, I started with my personal consume digest and then building that out and contextualizing that in terms of the playlists that we curate based on the content that we consume. So that's a specific narrow perspective, but as we try to serve consumers better based on our audience requirements or concerns or considerations, we would love to gain access to new aspects of content and culture commentary that we otherwise would not consume, to be able to add it into further playlists, to be able to compare and contrast. Well, how has our category specific playlist changed and shifted over time? And what is that an experience of, based on charting this difference throughout time? Whether that be based on the content creators publishing content for specific eras, all the way to what the viewers and the content consumers are valuing in terms of how the algorithm is presenting content based on view counts, and everything in between. Visual, a Venn diagram with overlapping circles: culture, commentary, searchability. Yeah, that's really important, the searchability aspect. And it moves into why culture commentary is useful. The purpose of culture commentary: 3 key functions. 1, a content categorization tool. Helps organize digital media. This was the main focal point when we first started curating content, or better yet, when we first started using playlists to consume content as a content consumer. For me, as a content consumer, we were dealing with this scourge of infinite content, trying to figure out, how do we deal with it? How do we manage it? We started with ASAP playlists. Hey, I'm watching this right now. Let's put it into an ASAP playlist. Let's title it, let's number it, and let's move forward. And then we realized, hey, playlists, they start adding up really quickly. How do we deal with the concept of a continuous playlist based on the same qualification moving forward? So, hey, let's do a cat spec playlist. Let's do a category specific playlist, and let's anchor it with just a numerical substrate. So this is a content categorization tool specifically because we were like, what do we title our cat spec playlist? Okay, culture commentary. And then it kind of stuck, and then we kept it going, and it's useful in describing content as a curator. Now, number 2, why culture commentary is useful: a discovery mechanism. This was super important because outside of anything that I'm using well, it does move in, but to come full circle, a discovery mechanism. As a content consumer, unless you're, you can do plus rant, and I'm sure we'll do a search journey for plus rant, plus venting. The macro aspects of when people try to speak their truth, like when you try to actually go back to the OG days of YouTube, where an average everyday person is just having a discussion with themselves on camera and they're publishing it. For me, as a content curator and as a content consumer, I want to be able to find that content, not just in a specific niche aspect of what's trending based on search engine optimization, but at its flattest distinction, where I know that I can go there and search for this term and know that people are using this term to populate information, but also so that people can know that they have a term to use to tag their content. So that's really the end goal of this journey, is to say to content creators out there, hey, if you're looking for content that you want discovered, tag it with culture commentary. It can be any type of culture commentary. It can be insert the prefix and then put culture commentary after it, and then I can use that as a curator to be able to follow up throughout time to figure out, well, what are people talking about in this very moment when they're trying to get their message out, speaking their truth related to what's going on in the present moment. 3. Why culture commentary is useful. A historical artifact captures the evolution of digital storytelling. So, yeah, I guess maybe that's full circle, as if it was already in use, but we'll have to see to what extent culture commentary, people find this term useful in terms of if people can use this going forward, and if we can actually find better content or more informed content or regular everyday content, because regular people are using this term, and it helps close the discovery feedback loop so that curators and consumers can find relevant content, and creators also know to use this in order to help people find relevant culture commentary. Next, the searchability problem and culture commentary's role. Headline: Finding content in a bottom-up creator ecosystem. Organic discovery is challenging. Search algorithms favor top-down content. Creators need better tagging methods to be discoverable. Culture commentary as a search term bridges the gap between creators and consumers. Visual: a search bar mock-up with culture commentary typed in, showing various content suggestions. I guess we'll probably do a search journey to figure out, well, who's already populating this space in terms of using this term, culture commentary. Next, culture commentary as a tag and historical marker. Culture commentary as a tag, tool, and legacy. Helps curate category-specific content playlists, encourages creators to self-label their content for better discoverability, serves as a historical reference for the evolution of digital media. Visual: a YouTube playlist mockup labeled culture commentary with various content thumbnails. I guess that would be my slideshow that's moving a little bit faster than intended, but I hope it's useful for any content consumers out there. Slide 8, the evolution of content categorization. Headline: How culture commentary fits into broader trends. Early YouTube, loose categorization, hobbyist content. Mid-YouTube era, rise of SEO, niche tags, monetization. Current YouTube, algorithm-driven, hard to find, independent content. Actually, as a pro tip, the most underrated YouTube search filter operator method of discovery is actually to go in to, once you type in words, you search it, you go to the filter, and you change the sort by to date uploaded. It's incredibly helpful, incredibly useful. That's your pro tip of the day. 19 minutes in. We'll have to make a separate video on it. Culture commentary's role: a grassroots way to categorize and retrieve content. Call to action: popularizing culture commentary. So, how can we make culture commentary more recognized? Actions to take. So this is speaking to all of the content consumers out there. Use the term culture commentary in content titles and descriptions. For all the content consumers out there that also operate as content creators, take the steps to use culture commentary in content titles, descriptions, and tags. Another action to take could be to encourage creators to tag content for better discovery. Also, an action to take could be to discuss and to share this concept to build recognition. Hey, what type of content are you consuming? Oh, yeah, I'm just consuming a little bit of culture commentary. Oh, what type? Oh, nothing specific. It's just broad. So we'll try to tighten up that method of discourse. Closing thoughts and Q&A. Culture commentary, a tool for content and discovery. Culture commentary helps us navigate and structure digital content. It's both a personal framework and a search optimization strategy. Let's continue refining and expanding its role in content creation. A final bold image with culture commentary equals content plus context in large text. And so that's what I'd like to leave things off. Just a little bit of culture commentary. And wait, we're waiting for the right there we go. Pause this. So this is where we're at in terms of our culture commentary series. So if you've enjoyed this brief overview of what is culture commentary, then check out some of the content that we've curated over the past 5 years of my journey from becoming a content curator, after being a content consumer for so many years, making that transition into curation and trying to introduce people to my cross-section of YouTube in terms of demand-side content consumption. For so many people out there, it's like, well, yeah, content creators creating, but there's so many people out there with a breadth of knowledge and information as a result of the years spent on YouTube. How can that be packaged? How can that be reflected? And is that even useful? Is that valuable? I would like to figure that out, so I am sharing the content that I consume with others, and if you find it to be valuable, then save one of these playlists to your library. And until next time, this has been As an Aggregator.